I think the Democrats have to say, no way, non passario, no one passes this line. I think it's going to be almost like Spanish Civil War stuff. You watch it.
Welcome to this week's edition of Wacky Moments of Liberal Expression. Now, I don't know about you, but whoever the screenwriters were for this year's season finale of the Supreme Court, they did a much better job than some previous years. This final week alone started with the Supreme Court upholding the president's travel ban, which made the liberal media melt down in a deliciously epic fashion.
The usual suspects, the five-man Republican majority on the Supreme Court today gave President Trump what he wanted most, the good housekeeping seal in his campaign to divide the country. In approving his travel ban crudely aimed at Muslims, the Republican-controlled highest court has shined up the entire Trump offensive on Muslims, Latinos, and let's not kid ourselves, Democrats. First, this Supreme Court gave us W by ending the Florida recount in 2000. Then it gave us guns for everyone in the Heller case.
But that was just an appetizer for what would become a buffet of liberal meltdowns this week. The Supreme Court then decides to let public sector workers decide what to do with their own money instead of being forced to give it to a monopoly, otherwise known as a union. They also decided that pro-life pregnancy centers can't be forced to promote abortion. Now, these are the types of freedoms that drive the liberal media crazy. But the writers of this season of SCOTUS, well, they gave us a post-credit stinger. Justice Kennedy is leaving and will be replaced by a Trump nominee. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the liberal media meltdown.
We cannot allow the Republican Party and Donald Trump to change the face of the courts for a generation. I think that Neil Gorsuch was a fight where folks said, look, it was Anthony. I am not conceding that fight, Don, and many progressives themselves are still with me. And so that's why you saw folks like Senator Harris come out today with her comments.
We're looking at a destruction of the Constitution of the United States, as far as I can tell, based on all of the folks that he's been appointing thus far for lifetime appointments.
I think the Democrats have to say, no way, non passario, no one passes this line. I think it's going to be almost like Spanish Civil War stuff. You watch the next few months.
While the focus is on the area of abortion, a very important one when it comes to human rights and women's rights and the ability to choose, there's also a whole host of areas where we required a swing vote for other more progressive-minded notions and ones that, frankly, are in line with our democratic principles.
Right now, this is the time for the Democratic base to roar up and say no more of this crap.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we are hearing from the president on this issue, and I do want to listen to his comments.
He's not going to decide this thing.
But he will first face an epic confirmation battle. It's going to be an epic battle. The Democrats are furious.
Are you guys ready to maybe rip up some of the rules that have, as Rachel said, limited Democrats?
Yeah, those Democrats, so limited by the rules that they should just rip them up. Oh, wait, Harry Reid started doing that as a senator.
They block qualified judicial nominees because they don't want President Obama to appoint any judges to certain courts. The need for change is so very obvious.
Oh, Reid making the rule change when Barack Obama was president that opened the door for simple Senate majority confirmations. Thanks, Harry. But the liberal media wants things to be different for Trump, and it's time to stop the wacky music for a minute and talk about something that is sad. A deadly shooting at a newspaper in Maryland. Very sad news indeed, but also sad is the expected liberal media response as they tried to blame Trump for this shooting.
You know, lone wolf actors are often alienated individuals who are looking to displace their anger and frustration onto some kind of outside entity or enemy. And I think it's worth pointing out that we've had a constant rhetoric coming, even from the president, that the press is the enemy of the people. That's been repeated constantly. And I think it's worth noting that if there is a link here, that the publication was being targeted, that kind of rhetoric can be very dangerous.
I don't think it helps either to have the President of the United States saying that the media is an enemy of the people, especially to lead to one of the deadliest attacks.
Yeah, wow. Nothing's too low for them, is it? Well, that'll wrap us up this week. I'm Eric Shiner from RCTV. We'll see you again next week.